promise you. The dawn is coming.
And here we go.
Welcome back to Just a Guy Reviews. I'm Matt Sula, and today's special presentation is The Dark Knight. Directed by Christopher Nolan and with an absolutely star-studded cast. You get Christian Bale, obviously, as Batman, Heath Ledger as the Joker. You get Michael Caine, Morgan Freeman, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Cillian Murphy, and just the list goes on. I mean, Gary Oldman, like, it's such a well-constructed cast, and in my opinion is the best superhero movie ever made. If you want to consider Batman a superhero, he doesn't have any superpowers, obviously. He's just a really rich, smart dude. But I digress. I mean, this movie, I think, is one of the most rewatchable movies of all time. It has one of the best openings of all time, which, in fairness, is basically the opening to Heat, the greatest heist movie ever made. So it kind of makes sense that if you're copying one of the greatest ever made, that you're going to be pretty good yourself. But I absolutely adore this movie. It's so much fun. It has my second or first, depending on the day, favorite acting performance of all time with Heath Ledger. I think he's absolutely incredible in this movie. And to go as far as he did to become the Joker, I think really got to tip your hat to it. I know a lot of people think that's what caused him to go insane, but I'm not really going to get into that. I mean, that's not for me to say, but just to get into character, he locked himself in his hotel room. He was writing in his diary. He was really, really trying to get into this character to do it correctly. And in my opinion, he nailed it. No one is ever going to do it better. No one has done it better. As much as I love Jack Nicholson, and I really do, his Joker's not as good as Heath Ledger. They're different. They're definitely different, but Heath is my Joker. I think he obviously went on to win Best Supporting Actor for that year, and I think it's absolutely well-deserved. Like I said, one of my favorite performances of all time. And, for as flawed as it is, I love Christian Bale's Batman too. I think the voice is so much fun. It's so campy. It is. I know a lot of people have issue with it. Why is he doing that? Does it really matter? I think it's a lot of fun. There's nothing more fun than talking in that voice. There was a whole year or two there where people were just going around going, "Where's Rachel?" So it's so much fun to do. He is such a great Bruce Wayne as well. I just love Christian Bale. I think he's one of the best actors that we have right now. He has so much range. He really gets into it, whether it's losing weight for the fighter, putting on weight for Vice. He's so dedicated to his craft. I love Christian Bale. Of course, Michael Caine is Alfred. Always great, Michael Caine, whether it's in Children of Men, whatever. But this movie is, I think, from start to finish, fun. There's not a single drag in the movie, and for a 2.5 hour long movie, that's pretty impressive. I mean, it starts with the heist, goes right into people pretending to be Batman, trying to be vigilantes themselves. It goes then into, the Joker taking over Gotham and taking over the mob and everything. And the Joker is such a great, great character, especially in this movie. Very different from what Joaquin did years later. This Joker just wants to watch the world burn. He's just insane. He's a mad human being. He is the perfect villain to Batman. Someone who refuses to kill, someone who lives by a code. Joker doesn't live by any code. Joker doesn't live by any rules, as he says in this movie. He is just a mad person causing chaos. And I think that's such a perfect villain. That's why I can't really get into a lot of Marvel stuff, is because it's so out there. It's always I want to take over the world. I want to take over the universe. I want to do this. I want to do that. Something so insane this. That's why I like Batman so much. It's grounded in reality. This is it's Gotham City, which I guess is Pittsburgh, judging by The Dark Knight Rises. But sure, it's still over the top because you still got this masked vigilante just like blowing shit up, and you got this other dude blowing shit up. It's not going to happen in real life, but it's like way more logical than, an alien coming from space and being like, "Hey, Earthlings, I'm taking over the world now." Like it's such a well well crafted story. Whether there are holes in it, there are a lot of holes in every Christopher Nolan movie, but he has that kind of effect that Spielberg has, where you don't care because he's gonna do something like flip a semi truck just for you, just to entertain you. He's gonna do practical effects. He's actually gonna blow up a fucking hospital. Like he's actually gonna do all this shit just for you. And if you want to sit there and poke holes in the story, then I'm sorry, there's no pleasing you. You're just an asshole. Go watch Shawshank for the 500th time. Overrated movie. But The Dark Knight, I mean, seems to be pretty widely beloved. It's number 3 for the highest IMDb score. It's got a 9 out of 10. On Rotten Tomatoes, critics have it and audience both have it at a 94 out of 100. Letterboxd, 4.5 out of 5. Everyone's in agreement. This movie's amazing. I think I've never met anyone that doesn't like The Dark Knight. If you exist out there, put it in the comments. Let me know why you don't like The Dark Knight and why you'll never be happy. But overall, I think this is such a great movie. And I didn't even mention Harvey Dent. Harvey Dent is, who also known as Two-Face, is such a great middle ground for Batman and Joker. Two-Face, he's got the good, he's got the bad. He's trying to make everything better, but he's slowly realizing the world is not a fair, not a good place, and eventually it drives him mad, which, as we know, if you've seen the movie, is basically becomes the Joker's goal at one point, is to take this White Knight and turn him bad, as, again, he says in the movie, and he succeeds. And then, really another reason why this movie's so great is also why I like Infinity War, even if I did just shit on Marvel a little bit. Like, at the end, there's no, tie it up in a nice bow. At the end of Infinity War, Thanos is looking over his field. He won. He got rid of half the universe. At the end of The Dark Knight, the Joker's just in the cop car, free. I believe it's believed that his henchmen were actually in the car, driving the police car away, driving him to safety. He caused as much chaos as humanly possible for, a week? And he accomplished his goal. Not to say that he had a goal, but he really just turned Gotham into an absolute hellhole for a week, an absolute chaotic mess, and that's all he wanted to do. Overall, I love this movie. I give it 100 out of 100. I've seen it so many times. Definitely watch it at least once a year. And as much as I also loved Robert Pattinson and The Batman, second favorite Batman movie ever made. I think it's incredible. I don't know. It's going to take a lot for a Batman movie to ever live up to The Dark Knight. But now let's get into our categories. Again, we'll be doing best line, best performance, and best scene. And then I'm going to go over whether or not it should have been nominated or won Best Picture. First, let's do best line. Again, not going to do any monologues because they're just too long. I don't want to read all of it, really. We're just going to either be doing little short bits or a sentence or two, because a monologue becomes a scene, and anything that I think was deserving of that will be in best scene. But for best line for The Dark Knight, first nominee, the Joker. Why so serious? It's perfect. It again, another thing everyone was just going around saying for like a year. It becomes a meme at a certain point, but it's so good. The entire monologue going up to it, also great. The whole story, but why so serious? Like it had its own poster really of the Joker. It's all around him. It's so good. The delivery is so good. Second nomination is going to be Harvey Dent. Obviously, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Such a perfect perfect line for this movie. Perfectly encapsulates his storyline throughout the whole thing. It's so good. Then we have the Joker in the hospital talking to Dent, and he says, "I'm just a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do with one if I caught it." It's so good. Again, I think it perfectly encapsulates this version of the Joker. Like, he doesn't have a plan. He doesn't have any sort of goal. He just wants to cause chaos, and once he does something, he's just like, now what? Now I go do this. I chase another car. It's so good. Heath Ledger is just absolutely perfect in this movie. Third nominee is going to be from Batman, and it's going to be Because the Truth Isn't Good Enough. Sometimes people deserve more. It's not the most iconic line from the movie, but I read it. When I hear it and I read it, I go, "Wow, that's a pretty powerful line. I like that a lot." So I gave it a nomination here. And lastly, the final nominee is going to be from Commissioner Gordon, Because he's the hero Gotham deserves, but not the one it needs right now. It's just such a good way to end the movie, basically saying that Gotham is such a shithole that it deserves Batman. Like, it deserves this violent vigilante to, like, fix this city. It may not need it at the moment, but it deserves it. Like, it's such a great line. If there's one thing about Nolan movies, it's got great lines. Whether you think it's, like I said earlier, whether you want to poke holes in it, whatever. But Nolan, great lines. But the winner, I'm going to give it to You Either Die a Hero or Live Long Enough to See Yourself Become the Villain. Such a good line. Perfect for this movie. Really, is such good foreshadowing. I think this wins easily. Now let's go to best performance. I'm not gonna be on this one long. We all know it's Heath Ledger. We all know that he is the reason this movie is what it is. Obviously won Best Supporting Actor, but there's just something enthralling about this. Like, you don't see him as Heath Ledger. I know he's got the makeup on and everything, but I don't care how quickly or how close together you saw Brokeback Mountain, 10 Things I Hate About You, Blue Valentine, any of these movies. When you're watching The Dark Knight, you're not watching Heath Ledger. You're watching the Joker. That's how good this performance is. Like, I say it all the time. Sometimes I have a little trouble when it's not a really good performance, not to just see the actor. Like, I recently just started watching the TV show Shameless, and the first 5-6 episodes, I just keep going, that's William H. Macy. I can't get past it. It's William H. Macy. But his performance ends up being so good that after the first 6-7 episodes, I was like, that's Frank Gallagher. That's Frank Gallagher. That's not even William H. Macy. That's how good he is in that show. That's how good Heath Ledger is in this movie. I, at times, just get so enthralled. I feel like I'm watching a documentary. I feel like this has actually happened. That's how good he is. That's how he gets into the psyche of this absolute madman so well. Best performance is easily Heath Ledger. I'm not even going to go through any other nominations because there are none. Now, let's get into best scene. These are the 5 best scenes in the movie to me, and then at the end, I'll pick the best. First off, we're going to start with the opener, the heist of the bank. All the different cronies talking to each other, talking about the Joker. They all get told to kill the other guy. That way the pot gets bigger for them. That way they have to split it up between less people. And just, it's straight out of Heat. And Heat is such a great movie. This did the bank heist so well. It has the bus crashing into the bank. It has the final line with the Joker. Whatever doesn't kill you simply makes you stranger. It's such a good opening. It just catches your attention immediately. in high school when they used to say you need the header, the grabber as your first sentence. That's exactly what this movie did. In the first 30 seconds, you're in the movie. And also, I like to play a little game with myself every time when they show the building. I try to guess which window is going to explode every time. I'm wrong every time. It's like trying to get the smoke weed every day right in the next episode. But anyways, the next nominee is going to be when the Joker crashes the party for Dent, when he just rolls in saying, "We are tonight's entertainment." And he does the second "Why So Serious? You want to know how I got these scars?" to Rachel. We're not the guy who's like tries to stand up to them. We're not intimidated by thugs. It's so good. It's the first face-to-face with Batman and the Joker. And it's very quick. It's only like maybe 30, 45 seconds that they're both in the same scene. And then they got to go their separate ways, keep them away from each other until the big moment. But it's such a great scene. It's got a little comedy in there. It's got the tension. It's got that Nolan, Hans Zimmer music. It's so good. Third nominee is going to be the scene with the trucks when they're transporting Dent to the facility, and then Joker and his cronies are trying to stop him. This is I say it's the hit me scene, or when they flip the truck, because Christopher Nolan fucking flipped a 18-wheeler for your entertainment. And it's so good. It's so good when Joker finally stands up. He's stumbling, shooting the gun just at the ground. He's like, come on, I want you to do it. I want you to do it. He's mumbling to himself. The hit me. It is a perfect representation of how insane he is, because he knows the Batman is not going to kill him. So he's just egging him on. And it's a perfect action sequence for this movie, I think. It's got the explosions, it's got the chase scene, and it's got the truck flipping. The fourth nomination is going to go to the interrogation scene where they finally catch Joker, and now he's in the cell, and Gordon goes in there. He's like, "What do you know?" He's like, "Oh, okay." He leaves, and when he leaves, Batman's in there, starts interrogating the shit out of Joker. The best part about this scene to me is the laugh. It's the best executed laugh of the movie when Joker's just getting the shit kicked out of him by Batman, and the pain, he's almost enjoying the pain. He can't stop laughing. It reminds me of around the same time Steve-O had showed up in the WWE for an episode, and one of the guys is supposed to do a move on him. He does the move, and Steve-O starts laughing. And the guy feels so disrespected that he actually then starts attacking Steve-O. And Steve-O's so conditioned to start laughing when he feels pain from the Jackass show, from Wild Boys, from the movies, that he just keeps laughing. This guy just keeps beating the hell out of him, making him angrier because he thinks he's disrespecting the sport and everything. But that's how I think of this scene. I see this guy who's just, he enjoys the pain. He loves the pain, and he just gets so much pleasure out of his pain, other people's pain. He's such a sick, demented person that he cannot help but laugh this entire time when telling him that, yeah, Harvey Dent is over here, Rachel's over here. They're both strapped to basically exploding gas cans in the next 10 minutes, and you got to save one of them. It's a perfect... I know I keep saying this about these scenes, but that's because I think this is a perfect movie. But it's so another example of how demented this character is. Fifth nominee is going to go to Nurse Joker when the Joker is in the hospital talking to Harvey. It's got the line that I said earlier. It's got, "I'm just a dog chasing cars." It's got, "Do I really look like a guy with a plan?" And when it starts, and he rips off his little medical mask, the high that he hits, so good. Every line is delivered perfectly from Heath Ledger. There is no fat in his performance at all. Sometimes, I mean, hell, if I have time, I just throw on YouTube. They have a video of every Joker scene from The Dark Knight. It's about 40 minutes long. You throw it on. It's a movie in itself. You're never going to be disappointed. And coincidentally, all the nominees here, all Joker. All Joker because he's the best part of this movie. But the winner to me is the interrogation scene. That is the scene that I'll just throw on YouTube sometimes if I have like 5-10 minutes, however long I have, and I don't know what to do. I can't start a new episode, can't start a new movie of something. I just throw on the interrogation scene, and it just every single time it hits the right part of my brain. I'm like, this is acting, this is cinema, this is anything that you want to say about it. That's what it is. Now, should The Dark Knight have been nominated and won Best Picture in the 2009 Academy Awards? If you ask me, I say yes. These are the nominees that year. You have The Reader, Milk, Frost Nixon, Benjamin Button, and the winner, Slumdog Millionaire. Slumdog Millionaire is a good movie. I will say that right here, really good movie. It's not as good of a movie as The Dark Knight. The other four I haven't seen, but if they lost to Slumdog Millionaire, I assume they're worse. The Dark Knight was a hit right away, made $1 billion, which is probably why the Academy was like, well, it already made $1 billion. That's its prize. I know that's what a lot of people think that with Barbie this year. But Barbie got a Best Picture nom. Granted, they've extended it to 10 movies instead of 5, but still, like, this movie, it was, looking at this list, the best movie that came out in 2008. I don't know how you can say otherwise. Sure, it may not have like a message behind it. It may not be a Oscar bait movie. It may not have like amazing acting all around, except for Heath Ledger, who they gave the Best Supporting Actor nom to. But this movie should have 100% at least been nominated for Best Picture. It's a shame that this is what the Academy Awards does. It says it made $1 billion. That's its reward. Let's get these other movies in there. I'm sure they're good. I'm sure they're good movies, but I'm also would put any amount of money on it that if I sat down and watched all these, The Dark Knight's the best movie out of all of them. So yes, it should have been nominated and won Best Picture in the 2008 or 2009 Academy Awards. But tell me what you guys think about The Dark Knight. Again, to me, it's 100 out of 100. I think it's a perfect movie. But be sure to leave a like and subscribe on the channel. Like the video, really does help out a lot. I'll be back in the future with more movie reviews. Hopefully, since I know we're in Dumpuary, that more and better movies will be coming out for the 2024 release dates. Hopefully that begins soon. I know in March we got a couple titles coming up. So until then, I'll probably just be doing older movies that I like. Or maybe I'll throw a wrench in there and do an older movie that everyone loves and I don't think is that good. But for now, that's going to be it from me, guys. I'm Matt Sula. I'm just a guy who loves movies. And peace.